Hi, everybody. I'm Gray Barnard, and I'm joined by Ayre Gross. And the role that you are reading in and performing is Dr. Lawrence, who is, in some ways, the voice of the playwright. He is the sort of central hub to the story. It's about him, and it's about his relationship to his daughter and his daughter's struggle with bipolar disorder. And is this the kind of role that, are you used to these kinds of roles, or is this something new for you? I know you play a lot of sort of medical professionals in those crime episodics that I see.
Right. So the difference here, I mean, I would say it's new to me because it's a new guy. Very often playing a medical examiner on Castle or something like that. I'm very often functioning as a conduit for information or misinformation, however the storytellers, want the character to function. I think what distinguishes...
Is that the way you see your role as actor? It's a sort of, you are sort of personifying the information you're given by a script about a character.
Not so much personifying the information, though that's a really interesting idea, actually. But as as very often a tool, I would say that 95% of the time I'm cast in something, I feel like my job is to solve a problem for the creators, for the writers, producers, directors, etc., to carry a bit of the story from point A to point B or whatever it is. And what's interesting to me about Dr. Lawrence and my Alexandra is that we get exposed to his sort of inner monologue, if you will, what his thoughts and feelings are about his daughter, not just what he does or doesn't do. So it's not so much expositional as it is the kind of emotional landscape or topography or something.
It's less about his profession and more about his humanity and how his humanity fills his job, but right, also his relationship with his family.
Yeah. And the fact that his field overlaps with his daughter's suffering and he can't address it. So it's not incidental that he's a mental health professional.
That's a beautiful way, I think, to describe the play and his conflict. It's that he is something. He is something in this world, and that very core of what he is does not necessarily enable him to resolve the biggest problem in his life.
Right.
Do you have in your own family or friends, have you sort of experienced those who struggled with mental health issues?
Absolutely.
Does that help inform you in this role? That's kind of an obvious question, I suppose. And in what ways does it help inform?
There is it's not hopelessness, but there is the word I'm looking for is a shocking kind of powerlessness to really individually change a loved one's mental health. And that is something I have experienced. And there is, there's a kind of compassion that makes one's heart ache for a relative who is struggling. And there's another level of compassion that motivates actions to mitigate someone else's struggling. And there's yet another level of compassion that I think is really the trickiest of all. And that is the compassion for oneself, not in a selfish way, but to have to come to terms with the fact that one may be powerless to change the outcomes for a loved one. And that's something that hits me about the play.
What do you do in the face of that? Is it a question of what you don't do or don't say, or how do you cope with that duality, with that sort of, in that sort of binary relationship of the one struggling and you realize there's not a lot I can do here? What do you do? How do you cope yourself?
You know, in real life, it's it's kind of like, how do you grieve? Ultimately, one must accept reality. And you know, you walk as far as you can every day, but you also have to accept reality that you can't necessarily change someone else's internal life.
Okay, go with that.
Well, I mean, there's a terrible, you know, it's you know, we like to think of ourselves, we like to think that, you know, anything is possible. If only we have vision, will, and stamina, and courage, and dedication to something, that we can create an alternate outcome for someone. But it's not always true.
Well, I'm sure Tom has struggled with that as he writes. You know, how will this end? How should I end it?
Yeah.
And that is something I think that we're even working out as we speak. Arye Gross, thank you very much. We've really only barely scratched the surface of both my Alexandra and your own experience. So hopefully you and I can talk again sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd like
There's
that.
so much to discuss. Arye Gross, who is playing Dr. Lawrence on My Alexandra, in My Alexandra, and that's what this post is about. It's about raising awareness for the play, and also raising support for the play, which you can see in the information below this post. My Alexandra is posted and made available through Indiegogo, Facebook, and Instagram. So we would invite you to look into more about that play by Tom Franco. Arye Gross, again, thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.